Heyo everybody, Haku here with my live reaction for Tower of God Chapter 603 or Season 3 Episode 186. Incredibly excited as always. Tower of God's been really good. I've been working on a bunch of stuff this week and I have a bunch of stuff coming in the coming week as well. So there's a lot to be excited about. I'll keep you all updated. I'm just really excited for things that are going to be happening in the future. I did buy a new computer, I've already said elsewhere, so the setup is going to be changing a bit. I spent a little bit of time cleaning and reorganizing my room too, so the shelves behind me are different and everything. But the setup is probably going to look a bit different. I think I might place my camera differently whenever I figure out what I'm doing with the new setup. So hoping to do a lot more Tower of God stuff. Something that I'd love to do is at least once a week, no idea when. I don't want to do it at the same time anybody else does stuff. So maybe sometime Monday, sometime Sunday night, late at night maybe. Just sit around, talk with you all about Tower of God, because there's just always so many topics that I talk in the comments with you all about, I talk on Discord with you all about, and there's just so many Tower of God related topics that I want to talk about like every single week that it gets kind of overwhelming, and I feel like I overwhelm my intros too much with those, so I'd love to do a stream like even every week where I can just sit and talk about Tower of God and stuff with you all, and maybe do that for some of the other series I cover as well. Like, thinking about this chapter that I'm going into, and also the chapter before last, something that I just realized finally when watching Ron Can's most recent reaction video, was when we saw Traumare's face in that flashback with Gaston, they, instead of having the normal circular shaped pupils that Traumare has, they had the circle with the or like the ring with like the diagonal line through it, similar to Anak and her mother's, which we have seen in Violin Azul brought it up as well. We have seen a couple other times with Traumare, and you'd think it has to be on purpose, right? You would think so, because I don't know, it just seems like too specific a shape to be random, and I wasn't in the Anak as part of the Lopobia family like camp, but now I'm kind of for it. But it also kind of makes me a bit more bummed out that Anak wasn't a part of everything that's going on right now. I really think that when Andrasi came back during the hotel arc, I feel like Anak should have come back too. We really need Anak to do some stuff in the story to justify her still being in the story, because she has just done so little since season 1. So I really think we need more from Anak. And honestly, Elaine sitting it out kind of sucks too. I really think Elaine and Hockney, Siu should have written them in some way to have stuck around with Bomb. Maybe even if they went with Cha after the Cat Tower stuff, to then meet up with Bomb's group, then get wrapped into everything in the hotel. I do think Elaine and Hockney should have stuck around. That's something I've always said. So I'm a bit bummed that they got sidelined. I'm a bit bummed that Anak didn't come back, but I do feel like that's something that has to be on purpose, the Trauma AI stuff. But even just last chapter, we get introduced to the new game, and honestly, for what I'm about to read, I'm hoping for more Robodon stuff, because Robodon, we have had him hyped up, and two, if you count Hugo and Kier, two of the book club, the inner circle of Gaston, high rankers, have basically been one-shot by him, but we haven't actually really seen him fight. We don't actually see like what Robodon does as a fighter. So having Proust come out here, I'd love to see Proust get hyped up as well. The number 2, again, in terms of hierarchy, since Belarir was presented as a ranker, I've always said it's questionable how strong Belarir is, because Belarir could be really weak as a ranker and could just, you know, hold a high position because Gaston has him planning stuff, or he could be a Kun type figure, where Kun Agnes played a huge role in the nest with taking down the Windbird and like going along with that plan and everything, but he didn't do it by fighting or anything. He used his brain. Same with Hackney and Shibisu helping out. Belarir could be another character like that, where he isn't really that powerful, but he is just a conniving planner. So there's a chance that that's true as well. But it does seem like we have a clearer picture with Proust being directly said to be the second. I would say that that makes Gaston definitely the first, then Proust, then Dumas, and then just sort of a sort of vice commander of the battleship, figurehead position for Belerier because of whatever he and Gaston have cooking behind the scenes with taking down the 10 families and everything. That seems to be now kind of confirmed with them. And that also made me think of something else, but then I forgot it while I was trying to get through that thought. Another thing is, we're getting introduced to this game and everything. Oh, it's right on the tip of my brain what I was going to say before. Jeez. It sucks that I can't remember what I was thinking about. But with the game being introduced, a lot of people don't really like just being thrown into games all the time. I'm cool with it if CU sticks with it. I really hope he sticks with this one because I think it could be interesting. But CU has had this bad habit, especially lately, of introducing games and then like 2 or 3 chapters later being like, yeah, we're not actually sticking to the game. The winner doesn't matter, the rules don't matter, we're not sticking to this. And it's okay to do that every once in a while, but I think he overdoes it. I think we need to stick with the game here and there a little bit, or else just don't present it as a game to begin with. But if you're going to present a conflict as a game, then stick with what you are presenting. In addition to that, I think the biggest problem I had with it last week is something that this chapter, if we continue with that stuff, I kind of hope addresses, is the vagueness of it. And that's another thing that CO has a problem with, where I feel like in a lot of other series, like just regular manga and stuff, if we got a game like this, they would specifically tell us the rules, they would specifically tell us as readers, I know like Traumery and Gaston can't know, but they would tell us as readers who each character represents in terms of the pieces, if that is something that isn't going to be a surprise later on, which it might be. But we so often just have, in universe, this doesn't make sense. In universe, they'll be very, very vague with the rules of these games, and it's like if some friends, like, say I had never played Uno before for some reason, and some friends were like, hey, let's play Uno, and it's like, oh, cool, okay, how do you play? And they're like, well, you use these cards, and you might notice that these cards have colors to them, and it's, okay, how do I play the game, though? And isn't it interesting? These cards seem to each have a number on them. It's like, what are we doing here? And this one has a stop or no symbol. Isn't that interesting? And I'd be like, what's going on? If we're playing, tell me how to play the game. Explain the rules. But like so often, Tower of God does that, where in universe it doesn't make sense. If the characters are playing a game, why, like Belerier explaining the rules to them and everything, why be vague whatsoever? Shouldn't you be like very direct with the rules? It's like being vague and stuff just really doesn't make a lot of sense when you contextualize it in anything other than like drama. So that's another thing that I hope, if we continue on, that the game gets clarified a bit. I don't consider this a spoiler because I did ask, I was like, hey, this seems like they're setting it up as a 6v6. Is it a 6v6 where each of them represent a type of piece, or are we going to have more characters in and it's going to be a, what are there, 18 pieces on a chessboard? 16? There's 8 and then 8 on each row, so 16. Yeah, it's even numbers. On each row. Sorry. So I was like, are there going to be like more involved to make it 16v16? It's like, no, each one represents a type of chess piece, in which case I'll try to guess them. So bomb was juxtaposed with the rook before, and that kind of makes me think, okay, I'm just going to take it at face value. I'm going to say bomb is the rook because it would be too boring to me if they just made bomb the king. I feel like Rack and Kun are going to be king and queen. I don't know which is which. I guess I'll say Kun is the king and Rack is the queen, but I might regret that. I might be getting them backwards. And the same, I think Gororo is totally going to represent the pawn. The bishop and knight, I'm between Tiara and Dumas. So I think Tiara, knight, Dumas, bishop is what I'm going to go with. Oh, that's what I was trying to think of, now that I mentioned Tiara. When I was saying the Belerier thing, I think a lot of people were really overrating Tiara. They're like, oh, Tiara is probably the second strongest in the family. And it's like, she had a very, very impressive, like, run against Yuri. I would consider her to have kind of had the upper hand, kind of have taken the win over Yuri. I really love Tiara, one of my favorite new characters introduced in the post-hiatus. But Yuri's like 500-ish. I would argue maybe should be getting up towards 300-ish in rank. Like, as strong as Tiara is to have done what she did. Sorry, my voice keeps cutting out on me. But as strong as she is, that's not like Dumas and Lobadan and these near family head, not really family head, but near family head level guys like Kel Hellam, the really upper echelon of non-top tier people. So as strong as I think she is, I was like, people are really overestimating Tiara, I think. But yeah, and then for the other side of things, we don't really know these characters. So we saw 4 of the family heads, branch heads, and we saw Holin. And that also brings us to 19 branch heads of the 20 branches of the Lopobia. So there's maybe only one more branch head we don't know about. And I think we've actually seen them a couple of chapters ago, because I always take my screen time notes and I'm going through and counting all these characters and paying attention to what characters are in each chapter. When Kirin first goes, this actually is more than a couple chapters ago, when Kirin first goes, hey, contact all of the branch leaders, and we see White Garment Widow, we see Pokoko in the turtle shell, we see all these other branch leaders. We see some guy silhouetted. They did the same thing they did when they were like Keyman, Variel Vani back in Name Hunt Station, where they had him and the little minions around. They had some guy with like a pointy thing on his head, almost similar, almost kind of reminded me of Kendrick Deal, with like some random henchmen around him. And we never saw who that guy was when we got the full names for like Wee Wee and Dump and everyone. Wee Wee and Dump is a wild, CU's wildest pairing of names since the Starbucks trio. But we never got a name for that person. We haven't really seen that person again, I don't think. So that might be the last branch head. But yeah, Holin is either going to be the rook to juxtapose with Bomb, if Bomb is the rook, or he's going to be the pawn, and then I don't know about the other branch heads, because we don't really know much about them at all. But it'll probably... Oh, I was counting Dumas as a piece, but it's actually probably Andrasi, right? Andrasi's in on this. Wait, so now I'm just going to need to read, because I'm totally confused. But I think that's about it. I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about before I get into reading is watching Amy Angel's reactions, because lately I've been listening to Pyro Prima and Amy Angel's reactions while working and while doing stuff. Just the old ones that I haven't been current with. I've been listening to those and getting to the Hell Train stuff. In Dollar Show, we were kind of hinted at with these with the plant and machine stuff, because I've said a bunch of times when we got into the plant and machine stuff, I kept bringing up the Purple Dementor, which is this ancient observer, clearly a machine, really cool, interesting thing that FUG got their hands on. But also that very same arc, we got introduced to Sachi and his spells, and all of Sachi's spells were like the Creep Vine, the Thornbush Path, like they were all plants, which is similar to how then we get to Mircea, and Mircea's spells are all plants. So I thought that was really cool going back, and obviously he used spells, obviously they were plants, but I never, since we hadn't been introduced to Mircea yet, I had never made that connection to Mircea, where I'm like, oh, even way back then, all of Sachi's spells were plants. So I thought that was a really, really cool thing in the past, and there's probably even more to talk about, but you know how it is. I don't want to leave you too much longer after this long intro. I hope you enjoyed having some relatively deep Tower of God discussion. So let's see what we get in the actual chapter this week. So warning, chapter contains depictions of violence that may be upsetting for some readers, which may or may not mean anything at all. Hold on, I can't agree to this game, second in command. Lord Dumas. The family head may have said you're in charge of this war, but I was told by the family head himself to capture that irregular. I refuse to disobey the family head's command simply to do as you say. Sorry, hiccup. Disobey the family head. You're making unfounded assumptions, Lord Dumas. What? Naturally, I've decided on a role for you that will allow you to carry out the family leader's command. Oh, your job in this game is to be the chess piece tracker. You're allowed to track down, fight, and eliminate chess pieces regardless of their team. That means you can take the irregular away during the game as well, right? By fighting him. And why? Because wouldn't that be of the opposite of a benefit to Gastang? Well, I mean, I guess Bomb has to make it to the arena, whether he makes it there on his own or whether he makes it there forcefully forcefully what's the word I'm looking for here? Escorted by Dumas. So I don't know. It just seems weird. It seems like he should probably work with Bomb. But yeah, I guess Andrasi's the other piece, though. I guess maybe Andrasi's the bishop. I could see her being queen, though, and the justification is because Bong Bong movement. That means you can take the irregular away during the game as well, right? By fighting him. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I'm like, why? What's the point of that? Shouldn't you just work with him? Very well then. I'll take part in the game. And then Season 3, Enkidu 3. Now then, let's begin the game. And it's still interesting that this is titled Enkidu instead of being titled, like Slay the Chess Pieces. Before we get started, that lamp over there will transport you all to different places in the Sprout, and when you get there, you'll be assigned the chess piece that you represent. Defeating your opponent's chess pieces is very simple. Either you steal your opponent's pieces, or you kill your opponent. So if they're getting matched up, then I would say, let me think, who's the other branch? Oh, Rashut. I would say Rashut gets matched up with Tiara, Ju gets matched up with Andrasi, Tump gets matched up with Rak, Wee Wee gets matched up with Kun, because Kun has like the Firefish and the Ice, and he's the Frost Bear branch leader, and then, you know, Bomb with Holin, probably, because CU seems to juxtapose them, even though Holin, it seems so weird to say, seems a little beneath Bomb at this point. It seems so weird that we're having high rankers matched up with regulars to begin with, but I think that's maybe where we're going, and whoever we haven't been introduced to is maybe the match for Gororo. So either you steal your opponent's pieces, or you kill your opponent. Bear in mind that although the lamps here transport you to various places throughout the Sprout, the places where they send you are more or less random. And again, it feels like if you are strong enough to be a high ranker, could you not just... It feels like your mobility, your movement around this area should be pretty good, right? Like if you're a high ranker and you can't even move quickly around an area, then to me it's like, are you even a very good high ranker? Although if you keep traveling around or to those random places, you might eventually end up in the place that you want, of course. Now let's get moving. Okay. And they all go to the lamps. Okay, now we're going to see, I guess. Where am I? Is this inside the Sprout? Since all the participants and the floor's leader, the administrator, have given their consent, if I were to go back and, like, I think the translation with various names, if I were to go back and change one translation in Tower of God, it wouldn't be Zahar Jihad, let him have it. It wouldn't be Endorsi, let him have it. I would keep Guardians. Please stop calling them Administrator. They really should have gone with Guardians, because calling them Administrator when like test administrators exist, when administrators in an administrative sense exist, it adds so much confusion when they could have just been Guardians. I guess also you could argue the same with consistently calling them guides. Don't call them navigators, because now that we have something that are actually legitimately navigator is a proper translation for them, now calling guides navigators has made that confusing. That, or like, I don't know if this is a translation thing or if it's a CU thing, but calling all of Joaquin's siblings in the Helltrain clones has always been extremely confusing, because they're not clones, they're not copies, they're his siblings. So calling them all clones or copies just adds so much confusion to reading through the Helltrain. But again, I don't know if that's a translation thing, or I don't know if CU just really made a weird choice. But either way, since all the participants and the floor's leader, the administrator, have given their consent, the game Slay the Chess Pieces has begun. Now everyone, go ahead and take the chess piece that you will be representing. Or is Rak going to be the pawn because it's a turtle and it's going to be played for comedy? Okay, are we gonna actually see? Alright. Oh. This is the chess piece. And we have the shark. The shark is I forget if the shark is the king or queen. I think the shark is the king and the queen is the whale. It's shaped like a shark. Kun told me about this piece. This is the queen. Okay, so is Bomb the queen then, the shark? I was hoping I would be the king, although it might be riskier for everyone else. According to the rules of the game, the king is both the most dangerous and important piece. I need to find out who's playing as the king. And he rushes out. And again, it'd probably be beneficial to hide what piece you are. Before the start of the game, inside the Sprout Arena, Rachel, finally, it's been so long, we're finally seeing what Rachel's up to. It's so dark. You're not taking us the wrong way, are you? And who is this random ass tall guy? You're not taking us the wrong way, are you? Is there really something here? You sure worry a lot. How did someone who gets scared so easily make it this far? Shine your lighthouse over there. I see a door. Okay, sorry. Just taking it in, seeing if there's anything important about this door. That's the place. Alright, just a couple of eyes, seemingly. Let's go. And man, the art looks so good here. Look at them. There's only one door handle. Now that I see it up close, this door's rather unusual. The door is easy to open. You don't need a key or a password. You just pull on the door handle. But it looks like only those who are worthy can pull the handle. Okay. Worthy? You mean like someone who can use the Shinwanryu? And then, can she use the Shinwanryu technology? She has the Fitbit? I thought Gustang had it last we saw. Wait. So the secret to taking down Zahard was in the Fitbit. What if the secret is the Fitbit is what allows you to use artificial Shinwanryu? So if Gustang was able to replicate it, that's how he was able to create the ship Wanryus, like the ships that can use it. And also, if he can replicate it, then Rachel can have it. And Rachel's team can have it, which could maybe also explain how Akryung can use Shinwanryu. Maybe it is something that allows anyone to use it. So if Rachel, Akryung, and the ships that the Pobedao family have can use Shinwanryu because of the technology that Rachel brought back from the hidden floor, that's massive. And that is a big weakness to Zahard's empire. Like, because Zahard's empire has so much power, because Zahard and the 10 family heads have Shinwanryu, they have irregular powers, and the regular people in the tower don't. But if you were to just give the ability to use regular, or to use irregular Shinsu control to tower inhabitants, then, like, that completely is an upheaval. That is a revolution. So that could be Revolution's plan. That I was saying before, if Traumare gets taken down, how does Kirin get taken as seriously? But if characters like Kirin get the ability to use this artificial Shinwanryu, then it could put some of those strongest, in-tower characters, it could give them the ability to almost stand on a playing field with irregulars. But I may be getting way, way ahead of myself on that. A bracelet. And she lifts her hand. Alright. And it seems to activate. Huh? She pulls out a block from the door. Rachel! And was that yeah, of course it's Yura. The door starts to open. It'd be really cool. So I think they may be the first. Well, Enkidu, I don't know where they're actually going because Enkidu was in the arena, right? And it, if we are to believe the threats from Belurir, then Gustang has access to him. So maybe they're not going to Enkidu. Maybe it's something else. Wow, it opened. Yura saying words? Let's go inside. Who is this guy? Alright. Alright. Again, this lineup. Look. So, actually, no, that is where Enkidu was, and it doesn't look like what I expected it to. But it does kind of, unless it's just like maybe the disembodied head, maybe the head was cut off of the original, because it looks similar to the silhouette that talked to Traumare as he was leaving the labyrinth. It does look similar to that silhouette. So I guess that's Enkidu, not what I expected. Maybe Enkidu is part of the sprout. It looks kind of plant-like, full-on Cyberman. He looks plant-like. Alright. That must be the animal that Traumare has trouble remembering. Enkidu. And it opens its eyes. Or maybe it is just a floating head like Kesa and... What's the other one? Was it Kesa the Furious? And then there was Arvin Lu? I think Arvin Lu's the other one. It might just be one of whatever they are. Alright. We have a roar coming from it. And we're only like halfway through the chapter. So much has happened so far. I was expecting, maybe we get a teeny bit of the game. Maybe we get a teeny bit of Robodon and Proust. I was thinking we wouldn't get all that much this week. But this is a lot. It's so noisy. And, especially all the stuff with Rachel is, big implication stuff. My eardrums feel like they're going to burst. Don't just stand there, do something. You must know something about that monster. The monster's name is Enkidu. It's a creature that the Lopobia family head received from the master of the workshop, as well as the first creature that he wanted to make human. So the first creature that Mixeth tried to make human. So machines and plants existed before humans. And I mentioned before, could it be a possibility that Enkidu is related to Cha because of the whole first son of man thing? Are we going to possibly get something like that? And that creature probably despises the head of the Lopobia family more than anyone now. I know that thing belonged to the Lopobia family head. What I want to know is how to make it shut up. Why do you ask me? You're the one who was worthy of opening the door. It's up to you to use that power, to prove whether you can stop it shouting. And then Rachel rushes in. I honestly think this is something I've kind of wanted for a long time in the series, for Rachel to start doing some actual irregular stuff, maybe not combat-wise even, but for Rachel to really start making some plays to make her more of a credible threat to Bomb as this other irregular force. Even if it's sneaky, conniving plays rather than actual physical combat. So getting to see Rachel do some cool stuff would actually be huge for the story, I think. I can't stand that woman. I'll teach her not to look down on me. I'm not the same person I used to be. This war is under my control. So having her walk in, at the very beginning of the series, Bomb walking into the White Steel Eel, I think would be really cool. If I can just get my hands on that monster, not even the 10 Great Family heads will be able to stop me. If Bomb has the Thrissas and the Thorn, and Rachel's got Enkidu and the Fitbit, and we go for stuff like that, and if Gaston gives her the Minazuki back, I don't know, that'd be really cool. I'm gonna show them all what I'm capable of. And we still have the screaming. Alright. It's okay. Don't be afraid. With this power, I can do it. That's enough. Oh, and it speaks. Oh no, Rachel is. I thought it was actually, because of the way the panel looks here, that it was actually starting to speak. But no, shut up and listen to me. It's Rachel. Fitbit's activating. And the barrier holding it is cracking away. So again, it's like Bomb destroying spells almost. I love this because it's huge, like I said, for the tower and for a group like Revolution. If they have the ability to give non-irregulars Shinwanryu. Oh, and he's looking more human now. The shield. Again, this person is here. We get a reaction shot of this person, not even their eyes shown. It's disappearing. It crumbles away. Okay, now he looks less human again. I thought Enkidu looked more human in that one panel. Alright, again, it does look like the Kesa Arvinlu heads. Grin. And it screams again. We have Shinsu billowing out of it. In a really interesting shape. Rachel! Alright, so stop. Stop it. Listen to me. And it's almost like it's fighting back. We have Yura warping in. Rachel. Yura? Honestly, the art of them has been so good. The Rachel Yura power couple. Alright, we see Yura stars. It's getting. Again, it has this really interesting Shinsu shape. It almost reminds me of, not Trauma, Yasracha's core. Bigger. And it seems like it's forming a body for itself. And this is the first thing that Nexeth tried to make human? Again, getting into like this kind of stuff is so huge. Seems like they're going to use the transport again. So it's so cool how Rachel again with the juxtaposition to Bomb, she has her own Bong Bong driver. Okay, we're still just getting more panels of it forming and all. There's no way we can talk to that thing right now. We need someone who can stop it. Let's just get out of here for now. Okay, Wario, and find us a way out. Okay, Rachel just gave up. We see this guy again. He's noticing somebody. She's gone. Oh no, Wario just ran away. Did she close the door behind them? The door? It closed. Only those who are worthy can open the door, but anyone can close it. And now they're trapped in there with Enkidu. So again, is this... Damn, it's censored. Like, oh yeah, why did we get a content warning? There's the Red Witch. You slipped away by yourself like I thought you would. And Gastong is there waiting. So Gastong, of course, would know where Enkidu is, because Belarir said as much. Is it awake? Yeah, it's awake. This is what you wanted, right? That's why you gave her that fake power and asked me to lead her here. Those people with her are no good as hosts anyway. You were right. She is worthy. She just isn't strong enough to handle it. Okay, so Gastong wants to make Rachel into a host, it seems. I've done my part. I'm leaving. Alright. And the cuffs shatter. Are you going to fight that thing? I need to ask it something, so I'll try talking to it first. But if it won't listen, then I'll have to fight it. Okay, so it is something that Gastong's gonna have to fight. We have this guy holding it back. Hurry up! Why won't it open? Why are we not even getting like a box to tell us who this guy is? If he's just some random guy. Why won't it open? Shit. And then, seems like it crushes that guy. Alright, is this why we had a warning? Is this guy not even going to get a name? Hey, watch out. And the attack starts coming in, and it crashes in to presumably Gastong's flames. Because he really likes making flames, which, you know, I kind of wish they did something a little bit different with Gastong, because it's the Yun family already kind of does the whole flame thing. What's going on? And then Gastong has entered. But again, it probably should recognize him. It's been a long time. Enkidu. Again, I think Enkidu probably didn't look like this originally, and its body was just destroyed mostly except for its head, so it's trying to make a body of Shinsu. I think it probably looked different. in the past. But maybe not. Maybe it is just one of the floating head thingies. Lord Gustan, I have a question for you. And then that's where we end. Hell of a cliffhanger. I don't hate it though, because that was a huge, huge chapter. Again, I talked about most everything there is to talk about within such a huge chapter. I think the biggest thing, like I mentioned, is the artificial Shinwan Ryu. And maybe that isn't a replication. Maybe that is the original that he gave to Rachel for now. I think that's very cool. But even if that's the original, they were able to replicate it for the Shipwan Ryu. If there is technology that allows non-irregulars to use Shinwan Ryu, that's massive, because that takes away the big special thing that Zahard and the Ten Family Heads have over everybody else. So that is pretty massive. Yeah, there's just so much to think about. And then because of Gustang plotting with Waryun beyond what Rachel was plotting, it seems like Gustang is trying to set Rachel up as a sort of as a vessel for Enkidu, and probably other things too, because something that I didn't bring up, again, there's so many things that I've thought about over the past week in regards to Tower of God. Another thing is that a little bit earlier, at the very beginning of the post-hiatus, when Gustang talks to Kun, and when he says, yeah, he's like, when I have the irregular, I'll know why I need him, which was a hint to him also not having his memories like the other family heads. But something else that he said there, when he was asked, why are you doing this now? I think it was when he talks to Traumeré, actually, when Traumeré is like, why are you doing this now? He says, I had a revelation at the floor of death. And I think there's two good guesses for what that revelation might be. So he already knew that an irregular came into the tower. He already knew about Bomb because of we know he did, because not just the things they said in the nest, but because of the events of Workshop Battle. He knew about Juvial Grace. He knew about Bomb. So the revelation isn't that there is an irregular. The revelation to me is either A, that he knew there was an irregular, but he did not know that the irregular was the child of Vian Arlen, this child of prophecy, and that was the revelation. The revelation was that Bomb was Vian Arlen's kid, maybe the Vian Arlen stuff in general, if he had forgotten that, and that is what made Gustang set things into motion and finally act on trying to take down the 10 families or whatever. The other families, Zahard, whatever Gustang is doing. It is either that's the revelation, that it's not just an irregular, it's even more special than just an irregular. Or B, the revelation is he already knew about Bomb. He already knew about Juvial Grace. He might have even known that Juvial Grace, that's FUG's chosen one, basically. He might have already known this stuff, but he didn't know that Rachel came. He might not have known that there was a second irregular. And if Rachel is connected to Arlen, is connected to Icarus and the Icarus stuff, he might have seen Rachel, recognized her as somebody related to the Arlen and Icarus stuff, and that was the revelation. The revelation wasn't actually Bomb. The revelation is, oh, there's another irregular, and I can use this one, because he goes on from there, he gives the Stingray to Rachel, and Rachel, that pays out dividends, because Rachel comes back to him with the Stingray, with the Fitbit, which is massively instrumental, and with one of the Zahard rings. And the Zahard rings are pieces of the key, which again, I think as a piece of the key, the Zahard rings in the 13 months are probably the most important items in the tower. I can't really think of much more important than a piece of the key to the top, to the next floor. So again, getting the ring, getting the Fitbit, using Rachel is probably massive. So whatever he knows about Rachel, whatever Rachel knows about the lore that we don't, could be whatever the revelation was to Gustang. So it might not even be Bomb. It might be Rachel that was the revelation that allowed him to set his plans into motion, especially if he is planning further things with Rachel here in trying to have her be a host to Enkidu. This is massive, though. That was like such a huge chapter. The game's also interesting. I want to know Like, I want to know what chess pieces the other people are. I want to see the game play out. I really want to see more Lobanon and Prowl stuff, but I'm so glad that we got this. This was so much more than I expected this week. I thought this would just be a fun continuation of what we had been doing, but it was so much more than that. So I'm going to end this here. Thank you so much for watching. Also, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, tomorrow Pyro Prima is going to not only be reacting to this chapter, but reacting to the character poll, and I wanted to shout that out because I'm extremely excited for it. I really want to be there to watch that and chat live. So go check out Pyro Prima tomorrow for the reaction to this and for the character poll reaction. I'm very excited for that. Like, comment, subscribe. We can talk here in the comments. We can talk on Discord if you want a link. Just ask and I'll give you a link. It's free and open for anyone. We can talk on Twitter if you want. I always love talking to you all. I talk a lot about Tower of God to you all. So you get, if you want to talk, let's just talk. If you want to help support the channel to allow me to continue to make videos, it really would help. Drop a super thanks if you'd like to, or if you want to get One Piece videos a bit early, if you want to get a shout out at the end of every single video, then go to patreon.com/HakuOfTheTubes, or a link will be in the description to become a patron, or hit join down below to become a member. I haven't actually checked in a couple days, so if somebody's a new member or patron, sorry I haven't put you on the end card quite yet, but here we are. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Chosen Regular Evan Holly, Magical Girls, Efranono, Smeller Dog and Abyss Knight, Cherryton Student, David Langstaff, Slayer Candidates, SG and Stans Eater, and Pure Element Pate Ardial. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.